That mother back there is not real.
There was a group of reptilians there, and they stood around me in a circle.
Tradition tells us that the army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to rise from inner earth.
All right, truth seekers, it is Thursday, NFL draft night, and we are live, and we are 5 for 5, and we're going to be here again tomorrow at 5 o'clock Friday. And so we're going 5 days a week, 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 of 5. So anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and also, supporting this new time slot, which is a new process for me and things that I am planning to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk to you today and see if you are reptilian. Okay, we're going to get right into the conversation because I talk about it a lot. A lot of people hear me talk about this, but you do know that we all have some reptilian DNA, and also there are some things that come with that. So today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the DNA that you have in you. And so therefore, you just might make a discovery. In fact, you are going to make a discovery. You're going to make a discovery that there are some good things placed in you, and there's some things that you could use and supposed to use to empower your life, because we were genetically modified at some point through our evolution as a human species here on Earth. Now, I know sometimes it's hard for people to believe, but I've always said it, that at some point there were a huge alien invasion that happened in our past, and there happened to be during that invasion that takeover, and we're going to discuss some of that today, where someone decided to alter our DNA. Now, we're not talking about the conspiracy side of it today. We're going to talk about, yeah, we are. We're conspiracy. We're going to talk about it. I mean, I try to make less light of that and tell you we are going to talk about the conspiracy side of it. Why not? And we're going to get down with it today. So the first of the thing is, when you get off this live tonight, you go look in the mirror, and then you blink sideways and go like, and if you see your eyes slit the other way really fast, then you want to slow it down. In fact, take your phone and film your eyes moving, and then you get to see exactly what is happening with yourself. And you might say, okay, well, where am I going with that? Am I a reptilian? Well, just remember, not everybody are shapeshifters. Not everybody have the purebred or the bloodline or the DNA to shapeshift. All right. There are some that are interdimensional, and there are some that are hybrids, in which is where you would probably be. We all can fall into that classification at some point. It just depends on how much in it, and then you will see what is going on. Dr. Strange says, I looked into the mirror to get my tainy hair out. Well, you know what? Look into the eyes, baby. Look into the eyes, and then blink yourself. All right, so I'm going to get right into our conversation. And then, as you know, yesterday we had a conversation about the missing scientists, the probability of UFO investigators, and different things that are happening. Of course, we all felt the impact in our field of study with David Wilcox and what has happened to him. And then there was this post that came out, a mysterious post yesterday, that said that his autobiographer, whoever was writing his story, actually was unalived, or somehow mysteriously left 3 days prior to his unalived. And so now that that makes it a little more mysterious when you see and hear things like that. Maybe they was writing something that wasn't supposed to come out. I don't know. So I'm just speculating. It's allegedly of what I'm saying, but not allegedly of what has happened. All right. So the question is, are you part reptilian? And we're going to talk about the good, bad DNA of the ugly reptilian DNA. Now, I know sometimes people say, well, why are we having this topic? And I think it's important for you to know what is happening today, especially in the conscious community, the conscious world, that we're in the Aquarian age. And it's the age of truth, the age of revelation, things that are coming out, but also the fact that the consciousness of the world has risen, I should say, and it's going up. But if you are not aware of the shift and aware of the abilities that you possibly have within this, then you're not going to recognize the shift in time or due to time to make your turn to become or to elevate yourself to wherever you need to go. So by the time we go through this conversation tonight, you're going to know a little bit more about this, but you're not going to think about it just as the shapeshifters and the fact that they're running our government and all those things, but the fact that we all have a little part of this. And so the first thing I'm going to do, read from my notes here, is the human genome, which was a project that left scientists stunned. Now, this happened quite some time ago, and it was a significant portion of human DNA has no known evolutionary precursors. And so what they were saying is that there's parts of our DNA, they don't even know where it comes from. They just still don't know where it comes from. Even though we think we're this highly advanced technological, advanced civilization, they don't even know where some of this stuff is coming from. But Professor Sam Chang, and this is guy from the project, said that the complete DNA program was not written on Earth. Now, right there should tell us enough. And let's just get into it right now. Your DNA, my DNA, was not written here on Earth, meaning Earth was probably seeded. All right, so now we tend to think of our religious background that I grew up in, that maybe I was thrown down a chimney by a Stark, you know what I'm saying, and Santa Claus or somebody went by and threw me down the chimney or whatever. Or we all came from Adam and Eve, which is preposterous at this point. You should know that story. Just don't add up. It just make sense. When that, or maybe there was multiple Adam and Eves that seeded the race. Now I can go with that. I can go with hundreds of them that will sit here to kind of go there. But anyway, that is now a project or a verified fact that we did not originate here. So Francis Crick, and he was the man who co-discovered what they call the double helix, and he probably believed that DNA is of extraterrestrial origin. Okay, so we already know when we talk about RH negative people, we talk about how they are possibly extraterrestrial bloodline. But what if all of it is, right? All of it. At some point, all of us has that, and we just got to kind of go with that. Damon says that Daddy was a mailman. All right, so he also said that he called it pre-program, and mainstream science buried the conclusion. Now, here's something that sticks out. The Serpent Elite Framework says that it isn't a mystery, it's a fingerprint, and that the good faction didn't want the random mutation to produce a capable species. They inserted the code directly. So think about it this way. Think about the fact that the Anunnaki, let me back up for a minute. They said our DNA has been altered probably 20, 30 times, or if 60, or just whenever. Everyone who came here pre us or while we was here wanted to use us for something, whether it was for slavery, whether it's the Mayan gold, whether it's to or put in what they call a worship gene, or any particular situation that they wanted to do, they came and altered the DNA. Every alien species. So we are a mix of everything. We're probably what they call some soon hounds or whatever, in the dog industry, got a little bit of everything in you, right? So they are saying that this is possible, that it happened. And here's what I want you to take from this. That you were designed and you evolved. Okay, so that's plain and simple. Now we can understand why we don't see certain people, why they're not here, how come they're not with us, and things like that, because we evolved. They didn't just disappear. Some probably was left the planet, some probably was taken to another place, but we evolved. Now, what I'm going to give you today, though, is some things that you're going to use that you need to know about consciousness, about this DNA, about what we have. And then you'll be like, okay, let's find out. Let's use this kind of stuff. So the question is, you spent your whole life being told that you evolved from nothing. They all say that. Random chance, random mutation, random survival. But the man who discovered the double helix privately believed that our DNA was written somewhere else. And the question is, how does it feel that the scientist doesn't know the code? Okay. And so my question that I asked, and the question I'll pose to you is, why did Francis Crick The co-discoverer of the DNA believed it was pre-programmed or extraterrestrial origin, and why is it never discussed in the biology classroom on Earth? That's the start there. We all been through some type of schooling and classes. They never talk about the DNA, and as Dr. Strange says, they can't change the DNA of everyone, all of us at once. They cannot. And it takes hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years before DNA is actually even elevated. Now, why again am I saying this? I'm saying this because there is a faction of people that don't want you to realize the power that you possess within you. Okay. Every last one of us, not just me, not just this person. We all were encoded with this DNA to do heightened stuff. Sometimes it tinkers with you a little bit. You may feel, a little bit of some of the stuff that you're feeling. But at the end of the day, it is in you, and you have the ability to access it. Now, I'm going to start with something that everybody should be familiar with, the Kundalini. The Kundalini is your activation sequence. And if you're in a conscious world, we talk about that. But it's also connected to the serpent. So in Hindu, we're talking different traditions. The Kundalini is described as a serpent coiled at the base of the spine. The sacrum or sacrum bone, or sacrum, if I'm pronouncing that right, the word sacrum literally means sacred bone in Latin. And when the energy rises through the 7 chakras, those 7 points map precisely the 7 visible planets of the ancient that they track. Why is that? How is that even possible? So if you activate your Kundalini, are you opening up a beacon? Or is that in the cosmos knows that you exist? Maybe you see, and let me ask the question. Anyone in here, in the audience, if you have literally activated your Kundalini and you felt something, put it in the chat so I can put it on the screen, each and every one of you. I want to know your experience of activating your Kundalini. In fact, even in that statement, you can put, how did you do it? So that others could know, people that's going to watch this later, and maybe they want to activate their Kundalini, and you can give them a shorter version of that, right? From there. But anyway, they're saying that the spiral, it travels through the spine and mirrors the spiral of a DNA double helix confirmed by the scientists in 1953, and that the oldest Sumerian deities associated with this, and we're talking Ningus Gazila, whatever his name is, he carried the caduceus, which we do know is the 2 snakes with the wings. And of course, we know that the same image sits on the ambulance worldwide. They put the activation code in your body, and they also put the symbol on every healing situation. Now, I've always said that the acipulus is the probably the rod of healing, and then the caduceus was the thing for Hermes and all those things. So that was kind of a different story. But if they're saying that if there's a serpent coil at the base of our spine right now, and not metaphorically, you want to know that we're talking, they named it, or they named the bone that sits on the sacred bone. So I haven't seen any posts yet. I mean, we got enough people in here. I know somebody has activated their Kundalini. Somebody has at some point experienced this enlightenment that you can kind of share. And I'm sure it's not a private thing. Am I correct? Is it not, pretty much from that? But at the end of the day, I'm saying there is a serpent coil at the base of your spine right now. And this is something that we can look at. And the question will be, why does a symbol used for medical institutions on Earth, 2 serpents around the staff, match exactly the description of the DNA confirmed by scientists in 1953? And when the Sumerians first carved it in 2600 BC. So where I'm going with this, that although we talk about this stuff and we just simply talks about it, but it's actually a real true coded imprint. It's a true coded imprint that is being placed within our bones, within our structure, that people are still trying to figure out what it is and why it is, right? And I think it's something that someone says it's hard to describe what actually happened. All right, but did you do it? Let's start there. Did you activate your Kundalini? And if anyone else, just put it in the chat. We want to kind of know if that's something that you did. Now, the other part that we're going to get into is the Enki bloodline. Now, I'm just talking about a couple of positive things about this DNA. So you stick around. We're going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. So the ugly is worth everybody should know. I'm going to do that last. All right. And it is something you need to be aware of. All of us need to be aware of, because this is where the programming starts. This is what they did on purpose. This is the stuff that we fight with every day and trying to figure out this thing called life. And then once you do that, you can take yourself into the whole point of this and to understand what is really happening when it comes down. So anyway, the Enki bloodline, the good factions of the genetic mission. People talk about that. Merkaba meditation, Kimberly says, Kara medication. So, I'm not reading the words. To Darshian Kara meditation. Okay, all right. So that's what you did. All right, cool. All right. So Inky is described in the Sumerian text as the god of knowledge. All right, water in creation. And know that you have that DNA, all right? He disobeyed the Anunnaki Council, and specifically, he disobeyed Enlil, all right? And to give humanity the tablets is what he wasn't supposed to do, a complete knowledge system of civilized life. And so supposedly it was language, mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, law, medicine. All these things was given by Inky against the explicit decision of the controlling power. And I'm saying this again, that there is something in you that was placed in you that already that it itches and you still don't feel normal. Sometimes maybe you got heightened intuition, or there's a lot of things that you sense and you feel that you typically know that there is something that is happening, plain and simple. It is something that's unavoidable, and you have to understand what's going on with that. So again, the Sumerian list the records, and they also had early hybrid users when it comes down to this, and the lifespans was 10,000s and thousands of years. So what happened to us? Who shortened us out the deal? Who turned around and said, we're only going to live 60 and 70, 80 years or 100, and these people been around 1,000 years and 10,000 years, and maybe the population or whatever. Now, if it has anything to do with the soul cycles that we're dealing with, that is a whole different story. Now, Rainbow Light says, I tried it once. I guess she's talking about activating her Kundalini, and she found a grounded meditation online, and every time it referenced a snake, I changed it to a dragon and met a golden dragon. Well, newsflash. All right, I'll see you all. But newsflash, I just want you to know that dragon and the snake, same etymology, okay, at some point. And it's just that when we put the wings on it, it was just because they was flying around in their spaceships, all right? And so that's probably where the wings came from that dragon and serpent, but good choice, though. Good choice. All right, Maria's in the house. Thank you. What's going on? And so I'm just saying, and so I'm not saying, you not to do it that way, Rainbow, because sometimes I do change my little self to a little more golden, this old golden thing, and so we have to do that. But what I'm talking about is the Inky part, all right, and the Sumerian part. So the oldest written record on Earth describes beings, all right, who defied the council of gods specifically to give humanity knowledge that they wanted to keep from us. We talked about that yesterday a little bit. I hinted on it. I talk about it a little bit when it comes down to the reptilian code rule that I'm putting out, the webinar that's going to be coming up, that there are some things that they didn't want us to know, put, or whatever, and they kind of keeping it from us. And I think it's time for people to really start looking into those information and directions of things, because obviously at this point, it is something that needs to be looked at, right? At some point. And we need to understand that it all, somebody just fell in the building. So I was just trying to look and see if they're okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, if you could take a look in this building that we're in, we kind of like a radio station thing. We have this big glass, people are walking by, they're waving and they can see and all this stuff. And then someone falls. So anyway, at any point, they're okay though. At any point though, we have to understand that someone deliberately hindered your ability, our ability, and they did it on purpose. Somebody did not want us to uh, explore our full potential. Maybe we're psychic. Maybe we can see the future. Maybe your psychicness could make you $1,000,000 because you can see and understand the landscape, and maybe you can process information a lot quicker and everything else. But somebody purposely did not want you to have or know this information. And we're going to explore all of that because I think it's time to do it. So the question would be, why does the Sumerian story of Inky giving humanity knowledge against the controlling God, which has appeared thousands of years before the Bible, by the way, and why does it tell the exact opposite story of who the serpent was? And I still been going down this road. And I'm saying to you, and let me put this out here, a little detour. There are two lineages that begun the story of the serpent reptilian stuff that we are dealing with today. I want you to know there is a good side of this thing, or when I say good intentions, and that's the message I'm putting out today. And if you're a reptilian and you're looking at this, come visit. You know, now I'm gonna need a little more proof than you just walking up saying I'm reptilian. You're gonna have to do a little something. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But I would love to have the guidance and knowledge of what we're dealing with today. You know, we're talking about the originals, not the hybrids, okay, and not the ones that violated the watchers. I'm not talking about those. All right. So know that we had a good faction that came intentionally, said these primitive beings that are sitting here, whoever left them here to evolve, we want to share with them how to build highways, how to, commercialize things and whatever. Okay. At that point, I don't know, we was hunter gatherers at that time, but what I'm going on it is that then whenever they were told to leave, someone came and said, get off the planet. Y'all intervening. This is a free will zone or whatever we want to do. These humans, this evolution, this is a project planet, by the way. We're going to use that term. This is a project planet, Earth. And they decided that they're going to leave. And some of them who was feeling and doing good didn't want to leave. And then they created a watcher race. Okay. A watcher race. And that race is who violated the pact, who came down where we getting the stories of angels and all of that. And they bred with the humans, and the humans' kids and theirs. The hybrids of those was the abomination that turned into the Nephilims that we hear about. Okay. Then, of course, God and the source, who was ticked off about that, said, let's get all of this stuff off of my planet, and I'm going to flood the damn thing out. Obviously, some of those particular people were still connected in the phone line or the group chat, wherever it was back then, and told some of them, hey, put a bunch of people away because they're getting ready to flood this thing and pick some of the best of the best. So we hear that with the Noah's Ark story. But it also could tie possibly into the ant people. Remember the story of the Hopi Indians saying that the ant people brought them underground to live underground, to, subside until the water subsided, but there's supposed to have been generations and generations of generations. That could have been a story too. But whatever it was, there was a lot of water here, which means why we know the dolphins and all these people. So I'm just going left and right. But where I'm going with this is that somewhere along the way, your DNA still was here. And what was left is these hybrid type stuff, and it just passed on. And so you could have something inside of you that your grandmother had, your great grandmother had, her mother had, and someone else had, and go back thousands of years that lay dormant until you turn on the right frequency. Maybe you meet the right person. Maybe someone in your life activates some type of code in you that you become the best of in superpower or whatever. Through some type of exploration, you find out the truth of who you are and what you are. And maybe it is. Some people are walking around today, got that feeling. They don't know. They know something is there because it's ticking. That DNA is there. So what I'm saying is that DNA marker is passed down. through generations to generations to generations to generations to generations, and it's in you, sitting there. And the problem is they know it. They know it. Scientists know it. Elites know it, and they look for the markers. And it's time for you to find out too, because obviously it's important. It's important, is all I'm saying, and we can do that. Someone says, I actually watched today how and when the last Anunnaki left, and the story found on the clay tablets. Well, yeah, they did leave. Now, they are saying that some of them stayed around, and again, those are the ones who we are dealing with today. And supposedly, the prophecy says that they are returning. And some said they're already here, and the signs that they are here dealing with the ones that left behind, because there is a war, all right? And so there's something that's going on the backside of that. So like I said, I was getting into the caduceus, but that's fine. Someone said it scares them. Yeah, what scares them? Let me see here. The story, the clay tablet scared them, or what? You mean the thought of the return of the other Anunnakis and stuff is what you're talking about, Maria? Oh, absolutely. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, and it really is the truth. Now, what I'm going to get into is what we call the junk DNA. And they locked in a room in your own house, right? Just start thinking about that in your body. Scientists discovered that approximately 97% of humans' DNA is non-coding, meaning it has no function. It's there, or maybe it's hidden. All right, meaning it didn't appear to produce proteins, and they call it junk DNA, and they just moved on. Now, that could be the conspiracy of conspiracies, because then Russian biologist, he found that the so-called junk DNA functions like a biological computer hologram working with a laser-type radiations. And the guy in Professor Chain and the other people said that the overwhelming majority of DNA is to be off-world origin. How long is it going to take for people to begin to accept the fact that we're aliens too? Right? Earth wasn't our home, but yet we were probably put here as a guardian race at some point. But we are, and which is probably what pisses a lot of the other aliens and extraterrestrials off, because a lot of them claim that this is theirs, or they wanted to take it over. But how long is it going to take us to realize that? Now, having said that, that leads us down the road of all these extraterrestrial alien beings and the belief that there is life outside of Earth, period, and beneath Earth, or within realms, within dimensions. Nobody really understands the total. Well, I'm sure some people do, but what is happening. But for us to realize that, could you imagine waking up now in the morning yourself, not worrying about none of this stuff, not worrying about, the bills and all of the things, because it just really don't matter. It's a small matter. Worrying about the fact that maybe if you do leave this earth, that you're going somewhere else and just a continuation. Wouldn't you be curious? Would you think the one thing of them saying you go to hell when you unalive yourself, and you go to heaven when you wait for them to do it? Make sense. When you start thinking about the rules that they have put in place about what we do here, why wouldn't they want us to know? Why wouldn't they want you to leave this place? Why would they want you to stay here? Unless there's something else. Now, we can talk about loosh. We can talk about harvesting our energy or all of those things. But maybe there's a value with us staying and being. And I'm not telling anybody on here to tomorrow to say I'm checking out. I didn't say that. I'm not saying if you check out and believe me, don't jump off a building and think it ain't gonna hurt. You just might not go fast enough and feel the pain. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying the curiosity of stress, worrying about certain things may not be that important. It may not be that important that we need to worry about, leaving this place and only to think that we return. Wouldn't you like to know? Get on the other side and ask the question. At least what I think, this is my personal thought. My personal thought is the more that you awaken yourself getting out of here, is probably how people are coming back enlightened, because they're remembering. You get what I'm saying? It's like a parallel to that. If you leave here totally enlightened, then you're not tricked on the other side. Because obviously there's a trick, and a closed mind is getting fall right back into the trap, the evolution loop. They talk about that all the time. The aliens talk about it. Everybody talks about it. So that is my answer to when you got these gifted kids and these ones who come back that know what's happening at 6 years old. They came back in here knowing, obviously, they passed the test and got back in and didn't get the total mind wipe, right? That some of us has had. Because now that we're getting older and we're getting these things, think about it right now that some people are waking up. Or are you truly waking up? That's the wrong word. You're remembering is the word. You are starting to remember. And that's the most dangerous part about this whole thing of us being here. And we're starting to remember. Now, while I'm at it right now, I need to remember a few things. And one in particular, tomorrow is movie night. If you are here in Dallas or around, come on out. We're going to watch the movie Him. And we should have everything set up. We got some popcorn. I don't know about anything. We have anything else? No? What? Oh, our producer said you got to come and find out. Even I don't know. But they left some stuff here to people before we left. I told them to leave the cake and stuff. Y'all will see this table. Okay. But we're having movie night. We got plenty of butter popcorn. Okay. Butter popcorn. And we're going to have some stuff. Maybe I think we got a bag of chips, big old bag in there. So that means we may have some little cheese with it, little nachos maybe. But come, we're going to watch Him. And then after we're going to discuss it. And you can go to Enter Truth. Let me put it on the screen. And you can register. Come. It's still free. We're just taking donations through there. And I would like to put this out there. Even we're having our mixer Saturday and our get together Saturday. And if any of you, maybe you don't come, but you want to support what we're doing, because we do need to support. We are a community supported channel. I'm not calling us a journalist, so we can't say we're free journalism and all that, but we do gossip. Okay. We gossip a little bit. Okay. Conscious gossip. That's going to be our new term. We're a conscious gossip channel, right? We still got to keep the stuff. But if you want to support us and maybe give a donation to what we're doing, you can go and register for the events. You know what I'm saying? And put a note, you ain't coming. But maybe the $7 or $10 or whatever you want to do is something we will appreciate, if you just want to support us. So that's just throwing it out there. But tomorrow, movie night, and then we're going to have Saturday, we're just going to get in a round table, discuss. We're going to have a good time. And then I'm going to whip out and show you some stuff too. All right. And we're going to do that. So let's get back on what I'm talking about for now, and we'll continue. But hopefully, if you're here, I'll see you here. And then we'll start working on the next stuff that we have. But anyway, so why did scientists establish what we call 97% of the human DNA is junk? Why? And then when researchers discovered the functions, like the biological holographic computer. See, David Icke talked about that a long time ago. David Icke started talking that we are this holographic world. All right. And I learned something, and I did it myself. And I'm going to play you a video right quick. This was me a year ago pronouncing, and I think I've done good. I think I produced what I say I was going to do in this video. Okay. And I looked at it today, right before the show, when I was studying my notes, and I was proud of me. Okay. I was proud of me. And I know I'm way more advanced now than where I was when I even knew and made the discovery. And I do that. So I want to play this video for you. And let me know if you're down with just learning, and you'll see my growth in mindset and also the thought. And I can tell you from making that video and how I was thinking then compared to where I'm at today is light years. But I still love me some me from where I was, and damn sure love me some me where I'm at, and damn sure can't wait to meet some me where I'm going. You get what I'm saying, right? And so I'm saying I want to play it and let you see, and just listen to my words. Okay, just listen to the words. That's all I want you to do. Let me find the video for you, and I'm gonna play it. Here we go. And then I want your comments afterwards, okay? Because it is you who I'm playing this for. Let's go. So there's a lot of people that approach me and say, well, hi, what is your name? What do you do? And they expect me to say, my name is Roderick Martin.
Well, why not?
And I usually blow them away, or they think I'm crazy when I give them the actual response that I am infinite consciousness awareness.
Are you crazy?
Living the physical reality. I'm having the experience of Roderick Martin, the YouTuber, the UFO investigator, the TV personality.
I'm telling you, he is crazy.
If many of you watched the podcast before, you'll know that I have been saying I'm changing my reality, or my physical reality.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, what?
Changing my reality, or my physical reality. I am changing the physical reality of how you see me. You may come back a year from now, and the new physical reality that I have changed and altered so that you will perceive will be a different version of myself.
That is bullshit, crazy, eh?
And therefore, which I access in the infinite consciousness and also within my mind.
It's confusing, I get it, okay?
With us all being one consciousness, I'm having my mind to be the servant to aid me in the altering of this new construct, or the new physical reality that you will see a year from now.
Damn, that is one effective counterspell.
So I created that a year ago, and I said to I put a note in my calendar, a year from now, I want you to look at this video and look at how where you changed, lost a few pounds, of course, but the mind, because knowing that my mind, I was a slave to, now it works for me. Okay. And discovering that was discovering the hidden things within ourselves. And this is why I talk about a lot of this stuff in multiple directions, by the way. And even now, if you're definitely fly in for this, August the 8th, we're going to have a conscious relationship lecture and stuff. Brother Joseph in New Life Tools is coming up, and Brother Dreamwise and his wife and our group. We're going to be the host facility. And we're going to get into it because there's something about relationship that I think is happening within the conscious community. And I finally start putting something to it. There is something in the cosmos. They're putting a spell out there. It hit me the other night, because this is what is really happening. Because every time especially being in the Aquarius age, we're making this change. They have to disconnect what is happening. And they figured it out. Now let me tell you where the groundwork started. And I'm sorry to bring it up this way, but when they started in my personal community, when years back, when they separated the African-American families and put the women and men against each other, and put this empowerment movement of everything, and broke the households, and it was done on purpose. It was a psyops. But now they're not just after us, they after everybody. No matter what your race is, it's that one consciousness that they are saying that we cannot let it involve. And it can involve, and let me tell you, the one place that involved is love. Now, love inward and outward is a beautiful thing. And if they're able to block this, and I'm saying this because there's a lot of you watching me now, that you may be a good person, your mind is a little better, you may see things, your decisions may be a little better. You may know how to love different, but you're single. And I'm not single just because, and don't use the word, I'm protecting my peace, because that is not the true word anymore. Because I came up with this thing last night. I'm telling you, it hit me. So I was going to get one of our team members to do a demonstration, and I would get them to get a bear suit and stay out this double door. And then I was going to be having somebody in front of the room with a little net on a fish hook. And that was to represent peace being bothered by a fly, and watch the reaction that a person has wadding a fly. They jump up, they move, and the same reaction they work if a bear walked in the room. And what I'm saying, and what came to me was, it's all wrong. You're supposed to swat a fly, which is a problem. You're supposed to be able to adapt to a small situation like that. But now we take the smaller situation and say, I'm protecting my peace. So we can't endure shit with nobody. We can't go through nothing with nobody. You can't deal with anything out here because you're putting it under the category, I'm protecting peace. and you're not having skills anymore. And somebody has put that umbrella out there. And I'm not saying there's a difference between peace. I am saying in chaos. If you're in chaos, get out of it, get rid of it, go protect your peace from chaos. You get what I'm saying? But you shouldn't have to fight a fly the way you would fight an elephant. And I'm saying some of us are using our reptilian brain now. I'm glad I put that together for you, of the flight of the reptilian brain that's embedded in us in that code. And we are running. We are running from everything. That's the reptilian DNA activation. And I'm going to go into it in a minute, that they done it on purpose. They've done it on purpose. And this is why we are somehow buying into this kumbaya of the Zen, which I'm not telling you don't find individuality. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying it is something out there because you can hear it. Start listening for it. Listen to people who says it. And I'm not saying you can love them and they love you back, but listen to the people and how much they tolerate when they start saying it's disturbing my peace. They don't fight for shit. They don't fight for nothing. In this world today, we got to come together. We got to stick together. We got to be together. We got to go through something together and we'll win. That's all I'm saying. And we're going to go through something together. That's all I'm saying. Somebody said, no, but you got to be crazy to keep from going insane. It's not to not let inside my pot. No, and I get it. And I'm not saying letting somebody inside. Remember, if it's chaos coming inside, you should block chaos. But somehow, and somebody can correct me, you can run into a person today that is human. And let me stress that has 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, and whatever, and look just like another human and another human. And all I'm referencing to, that you can run into somebody who looks like the person that you were with in the past, and maybe they walk 2 legs like the person in the past, and it reminds you of the person in the past, and you don't want to deal with it. And they ain't even the same people. Maybe they have 5 characteristics out of 100 like the other person, but the other 95 is not. But because the 5 is trauma, maybe we then turn around and be like, it's draining, like she just said. And I didn't even have to, that word just came right there. We own it together. It drains you. But I'm saying to you, think about it. Do you really want to be by your damn self? I'm just saying. And if you really want to be by your damn self, get an island. Do it. Just don't even work anymore. Go stay in the woods. Just do it. Because if you're interacting with anybody any kind of way, that energy is disturbing the other part of the energy. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be, but if you want to be by your damn self, think about it. Do you really want to be by yourself? Do you want somebody to talk to? Do you want somebody to understand you? Do you want somebody or whatever? I just threw that out there. I'm just saying. And I'm not totally correct, by the way, because this is why we're going to have an open discussion even this weekend. All I'm saying is that it's worth noting. But if it's all disguised under the word peace. So let me get to you what they did with this DNA and why we're having this thing. And that's where we're going with it. Because I'm going to skip some of this other part. I'm going to skip the rival faction hybrid bloodline. I was going to talk to you about the power without the wisdom. I was going to talk to you about the Saturn moon matrix and broadcasting the cage frequency that's hitting your DNA. I was going to tell you about that. I was going to talk about your DNA as a receiver and the emotions as a tuning dial. Maybe I'll get into that one. Let's do that. The Russian DNA research confirmed that DNA is not just a chemical storage system. It functions as a freaking antenna, a receiver and transmission of frequency information. And the frequency it receives determines the emotional state. Hear me out. Fear, anger, submission, And what else? Anxiety tunes the DNA antenna to lower frequency range, which is the rival faction's broadcast band. Listen to this one. Love, curiosity, awareness, and expansion tune to a DNA antenna to a higher range. So let me just say this. If you're able to pick up this chaos all the time about people, that's your fucking antenna. Because obviously you can't see the good side, or the energy is not there. And I'm not saying they don't have it. They just don't have it. If they're the fucking cold-blooded ass folks, then that's it. But where I'm going with that is all of this stuff is a frequency. And I'll say this a lot. I rarely meet strangers. I don't meet strangers. And I'm saying to that because when I meet someone we get to know each other really fast, and it feels comfortable because I'm a good person. I'm gonna tell you that. All right. But I've been meeting some people quickly that it disturbs them that they get to know me so well, or I know them so well, or maybe they open up and talk and say things within a day or two that they hadn't said to someone in 6 months. And they don't realize that that's a gift. And that's a gift between two people, me and that person, or whoever it is that we're having a conversation with, the chum, the fellows, or whatever. It's a gift. It's a gift that your DNA and your body in your frequency is accepting that this is a good code. It's a good match. But instead, because it's uncomfortable frequency, we get people that will disengage because, hey, I get it. I got people who tell you that they've been in relationships, they move too fast. I hear it all the time. I'm okay because I'm friends with them. No, you didn't move too damn fast. You just found out what you need to know quick before it's too late. In fact, you want to move as fast as you ever heard the term speed dating? Shit, that was the right thing. Speed dating was the right thing because you get to know real quickly. Could you imagine this one? How many of you been married before? But could you imagine at the altar before you said I do, and the person you married looked at you and gave you every fucking reason that y'all divorced today before y'all got married and said, hey, but if this happens, if you get sick, you lose your job, I'm leaving you. Or if you don't give me sex every night, I'm leaving you. If you don't do such and such, I'm leaving you. How many people would be married if you knew the shit up front? You get what I'm saying, right? So you learn out as quickly as possible. But anyway, it's a frequency. All right. I'm not Dr. Phil and all that shit. I deal with it too. I'm learning too. You know, you're meeting people and then you want to understand and be better, but for me, the weaknesses that I have discovered out of the love that I have is me being non-judgmental as much as I used to be. I'm not judgmental no more as I used to be. You get what I'm saying? So that also is a problem. That is a serious problem when it comes down to it, okay? Because at the end of the day, you could possibly, let some stuff through the crack. But I like to give everyone, just what it is. Somebody says, when you recognize, let me put this on the board. And she says, when you recognize cold-blooded ass folks, then get away from them and get them out of your life. I'm with you on that. I'm saying, and imagine recognizing that frequency of that DNA was in early on instead of later on down the road. And all you got to do is ask questions. Ask questions. Seriously, ask questions. If anybody ever met me and I tried to date you, and if I did, if you out there listening, you would know I've asked a lot of questions really quick. And sometimes I'm like, why are you asking it? Because why not? Who didn't? Like you and your ex broke up. Yeah. Did you kill him? You know what I'm saying? People don't ask the question. They just don't. Yeah, it was a major breakup. How did y'all break up? Was it a box fight? Knives and gun, you know what I'm saying? How did you break up? Because that makes good sense for you. I'm not saying that you're not going to break up with somebody, but how you break up. If they broke up with this person and they say they burnt all of their stuff, then you can imagine they got experience at burning stuff. And they know how to do it, and they're going to perfect it on you. I'm just saying. I know I should be going. I should be going there. It's not the conversation, right? We got our producer over here. She said, keep going. I'm already in it. I'm knee deep in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm knee deep. All right. Someone says, I'm like being with my thoughts, and what I've learned along the way has brought me peace after having. That's okay. I'm saying, and Maria, it doesn't mean that you didn't have enough. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we just had enough. Sometimes we done had enough with human species. We just had enough. You know, I don't want to deal with nobody else. I done enough of them. I just don't. That's all I'm saying. It's okay with that. She said, I'm 61 and I live a lot of lives. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm. So you didn't. And that just came after I said that, right? Sometimes we've just done enough, and enough is enough. We just don't need to do it no more. I get it. I'm with you on that. So what I was going to go with is the Watchers. Let me go into that. They said there was 200 beings descended from Mount Hermon, or Hermon, or however you want to pronounce it. A Pacific location, a Pacific number recorded in the book of Enoch, okay? They were not the rival faction. They were the guardian class of a good faction, okay? Because remember, there was a good faction of reptilians and serpents that came. That's the ones they call the shiny ones, the light beings, or those ones. And the only reason they said that is because they came down in rocket ships and spaceships and all that, so it looked like light. So I just want you to know. But they were the Watchers, and their mandate was to steward and protect humanity in the absence of the original shiny ones. This is and listen to the story so you'll know what's really happening, okay? They were not supposed to interfere genetically. Then they made it with human women outside of the control system. And I'm going to still stand behind it and say, okay, that's cool. I get it. We know where the trouble started. But not as part of the good faction, carefully seeding architecture, but driving by the desire and unchecked access to power. So obviously, I would say, that they were treated like gods when they came down here, you know, and all right, maybe some of you women had a man, and you know what I'm going to do? Some of you women might have been there because we don't have all these past lives. Some of y'all may be the purpose that you saw this thing come down. Did you take all the icing off of that? I haven't done that when I was a kid. I want y'all to visualize this beautiful cupcake with icing on it. And you know what? I'm gonna give you a better view. Show you mine. You see that? Okay, so we're in this big conference room and all that, and they left all this cake. Our producer over there has licked all of this off because she's healthy and she doesn't eat the bread and the other stuff. But she damn sure went and just licked all of this off. You know what I'm saying? Now, I used to do shit like that when I didn't want my brothers eating my shit. They'd be like, "You mean have some? You want some now?" Anyway, all right. That's cool. So what I'm saying is, think about the fact that let's say we live past lives. We all have lived past lives, and we've done this. And some of you ladies bred these aliens, okay? And you might be the one who did it. But anyway, so the offsprings was the Nephilims, giants, beings of immense physical capacity, partial access in the Shining One's knowledge system, but without the full architecture that made the knowledge safe, power without restraints, capability without wisdom, and the most dangerous combination in any species. This is very serious, okay? Now, the Watchers were the good guys. They started that way. They had the knowledge, they had the power, and they fell. And not because they were evil, because they had access without accountability. Doesn't that sound familiar? You get what I'm saying? Because we'll get back to that peace thing in a minute. Because every institution of power in the world started with a mandate to serve and protect, every single one, but the Watchers didn't in ancient history. In operating, they corrupt the system. All right. So the question would be, why does the book of Enoch, which was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, confirming that it was widely used before being removed from the biblical canon, right? And describing precise detail a group of guardian beings who violated their mandate and bred with humanity, and why was the book specifically excluded from the Bible. Now, the Nephilim genetics survived the flood. Now, just hearing that story, you tend to now understand the fact of why the flood happened. It makes sense now. It makes a whole lot of sense. Somebody said, okay, now make no mistake about it. Where I'm learning from all this reptilian and serpent knowledge is there's a source, God, that created all of us. But all of this other stuff that's called gods, all of the deities that say they were gods, something is wrong with that. And only because we as a species was sleep. Sleep is another word for ignorance. So I'm going to use the word sleep so nobody get offended. That we were asleep and then realize the power within ourselves. And that has been an ancient tradition that has carried on forever. So think about it. Think about how many of you are Republicans because your mom and daddy was a Republican. Think of you who go to the same church that your parents went to just because they did. Think of us who married a man that looked like their father just because it reminded them of their father. And I'm not saying if you had a good dad and all that. That's not where I'm going with that. Because I'm just saying if your father was good, you might find a good man that reminds you of the father. That's okay. I'm just saying, imagine how we roll as humans. So imagine it's the same reason the royal families, as he's talking about here, Dr. Strange, keep making sure that their bloodline stays pure. Because somehow they know they don't want to step out the provision of that. They do not want to. They do not want to intermene or commingle the bloodlines. Even when you see it in the movies, the war movies and stuff, they were like, don't, the Saxon movie, that was King Arthur. I remember the dude was getting ready to make this other girl, and the leader of them chopped his head off and said, don't mix with their blood. Our blood don't mix with theirs. Don't do it. What do you think the children's going to be when the offspring happen? I was like, damn, that's honorable. I was like, shit, damn. He was like, he was a leader and he just chopped the other dude in front of everybody else because the other dude stood up to the leader and said, our law said that I can have the spoils of war. He's like, not this woman, you're not. And she was pretty. She was really pretty. And he was like, but the law said, he snapped his head off and then looked at everybody else. He says, nah, don't mix our blood with this woman or with these people. What do you think the offspring is going to be? I was like, damn, so I can imagine the roaches don't want to breed with the cockroaches or the bigger cockroaches. And, they like, what do you think a middle roach would look like? I don't know. But you get what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But it's the DNA. Somehow everybody knows about DNA but us. So what if your DNA had a heightened sensibility to sense a goodness in a person? And that sense is what you were feeling when you met somebody, because some of you have let some good people go because of malfunctioning DNA is all I'm saying. And then some of us have done some stuff that we shouldn't have done because we're human. If you want to say that, then use that as an excuse. Don't be talking about protecting my peace. When you know what I'm saying, because we don't know what that really says. All right, so the Nephilims, the original shiny ones won the war. So there was supposedly been a war, and the flood was not a weather event. It was a military and technological reset operation designed to eliminate the Nephilim hybrid population that has spread across the surface of Earth. The good faction won the war, but here's the ugly truth. The Nephilim genetics didn't fully disappear. Before the flood, their bloodline had already spread into the human population in corrupted hybrid genetics, okay? Power without wisdom. Think about that. Dominancy without elevation. It survived inside a human gene pool. Post-flood documents suggest that the river or the rival faction specifically identified those genetic lines and began concentrating them into position of power. This is why they have those things happening. Not the good faction bloodline, not the pure Nephilim bloodline, the corrupted middle one, and human enough to walk among people. Now, right there, I should have put a lot of emphasis on that right there. And since I started saying this just now, we probably had like 10 people drop off and then some more people hopping on. But what I'm saying is they missed the good part. Because listen to this. They corrupted the middle, but human enough to walk among people. Man, I can stop right there. I can end the show or start a new one. Because this is the truth. When we start talking about the reptilian and all this DNA, this is why we do what we do live here in Dallas. This is why this thing, and let me show it to you. And I'm going to put it on the screen because, yes, it is something you should know. I'm doing a webinar called The Reptilian Rule. And it says religion is no accident, but it was built. But in this webinar, I'm going to teach you the Heart Math Institute energetic love bomb that you're going to throw off your body. You're going to hit a cold-blooded reptilian human being, and you're going to know who it is. This is true. It's tested. And yes, I shouldn't be sharing this to everybody, but I am. You better sign up for it, because what I'm saying and what it's saying right here and what we know, that DNA that's corrupted, that stay behind. And so my message to the good reptilian, the shining one's original bloodline. I know some of y'all are here and you're listening. If not, hopefully the energy, you'll find my podcast. Come team up with me and give me some knowledge and some guidance, please, to fight what we're fighting against. You have my permission to show up here. Blink the fucking eyes, though. Okay? Like a red light. Give us a good old sign that we know who you are. We've had people to walk in and say they're reptilian and they said it. Okay. Whatever. It's one of those things. My daddy said he'll be right back too, and I ain't seen him in 32 years. You know what I'm saying? People just say some shit. But what I'm saying is, I hope y'all hear me. Human enough to walk among us. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in for a minute. Because there are so many people walking around looking for that strange looking ass being on Star Trek. I'm not saying that they're not there, but they're looking for the ones. They're looking for somebody that's green because they taught you that. They taught you that in a comedic way of little green men. If you are intelligent enough, and you are, to study the genetics of how and things evolve, it shall make sense to you that there are people that you're sleeping with, walking around with, probably married to, or bred to, or born from, that are not all the way human. And you need to know the truth. You need to them tell you what's going on, or you need to figure out a way to figure it out, because they're controlling everything so that you don't know. Because when you find out, life will be a little different for you and for everyone around you, probably. You get what I'm saying? That's what I've been doing, what I'm doing for. I had to slowly introduce this stuff, but it starts with the serpent stuff. It starts with reptilian, the one thing that people don't want to talk about. The one part that, oh man, don't talk about that reptilian stuff. It's starting to be more common now than anything, because it's true. Now, I want you to understand is that they have a lot of fear for us because we outnumber them. Right? And so, again, we're not sitting here trying to go against the factions. You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, start looking at the commercials, start listening to what they're saying. In fact, some of you got this already, but I'm not even going to show you the cover because I don't want you to buy it yet. This is 400 some pages that I worked on, and we put in here has 50 proof of reptilian existence, but also 50 archetypes in here. 50 archetypes in every word that they say. So I'm going to put it to you like this. It's in here. I've done this on purpose. So let's say that the archetype of the reptilian is the shadow explorer. They have a light side and they have a shadow side. The light side, they're bold, discovery, they're driven, they're reckless. On the shadow side, explore, invasive. And I'm going to skip this part, but I'm going to tell you in here, every personality, and this is probably one of the most dangerous shit that's going to be out here that was never intended to be, but since it is. But it also going to tell you the words and things that they use and that you can identify and know who it is. You can know if you're with that person because the commonality of stuff is it. And I have it all in here. And at one point in time, I was warned not to even put this out here because it made too much sense. And I stumbled upon creating it. I created out of trauma. And when I say trauma I was thinking very hard. What can I give to the universe? I was meditating. I was like, I got to do something and it'll change my life, helping others and blah, blah, blah. And boom, it said, give something that they need. And it showed up. And that's when I was like, oh, yeah. But I also teach you how to break the spell, the light work, the conspiracy side where you can connect it to the conspiracies. And tell you about the source code, the reptilian code of each archetype. And everybody has them. Anybody you meet, everybody has them. I just want you to know, everybody has them. It's undeniable. You know, the logic is undeniable, I should say. But yeah. And they can say something. So I'm going to put this down because it's dangerous. Let me put it over here so y'all can't see it. It's dangerous. It really is. All right. So, but here's the deal. I'm saying that they walk among us. And they're everywhere. And some has more in it than others. So imagine this. So think about maybe, let's just say on your side of the family, there's a genetic part of something of this alien DNA. And then it's multiplied over here. And then there's a genetic strain over here that has another part of it. And then all of a sudden you meet and you breed with this person. And your offspring gets a bam of both GNAs, this twisted strand of some shit. And then here you are, 5 foot tall. Your man is 5'3", and y'all fucking have a baby shack. And you're trying to figure out how did that happen. Think about it. You get what I'm saying? Really think about it. Think about some of you who got kids that's 6'9" and your ass ain't but 5'4". And the daddy is maybe 5'8", and your kid walking around like a fucking dinosaur at 12. I'm saying that you can't make it up. There was a DNA strand cross, giant one by the fact, because it was in you. That's all I'm saying. So it's in you that we need to discover what's in us to fight against the corruption and the stuff that's happening. That's all I'm saying, because they walk among us. And this is why we miss it. This is why every day we don't see these people, because every day we see these people. Kind of an oxymoron there. But what I'm saying is, it is what it is, because they're hiding in plain sight. That's all I'm trying to tell you. They're hiding in plain sight. And it's important that we understand. And there was a lot of stuff I was going to go on. I was going to go into the good bloodline, what it is, the man of Inky, and how you can do it. I can go into the dormant DNA activation, the Illuminati's greatest fear. Let me go through that. Maybe I get in trouble teaching you this one. Yeah. Who cares? The whole point of this is, here is the convergence point of all of this, what I'm talking about, because I'm getting toward the end and I'm skipping some stuff for you. The good factions activated code in your DNA. Just want you know, and the rival faction suppressed the system that is also your DNA. And the watcher corruption is particularly in your DNA. But here's what makes the rival faction most desperate. The activation signal cannot be suppressed when a human consciousness reaches a certain threshold of awareness. I'm going to keep going, but I want to stop right there. Someone said, oh no, laugh out loud. I have a son like that taps on my head talking about, I love you, mama. There you go. I just said it. Can't make this stuff up. It's good. She's now saying her son is way bigger than her. She's trying to figure it out because we don't know. We don't even know if our kids are our kids. To be honest with you, they just maybe came out of you. We don't even know. We don't. You get what I'm saying? All right, there's some markers there that ties them to you. But let me back up. The Illuminati greatest fear is why it's in our food. This is why they have stuff, chemical fluoride, all these different things that they allegedly says that we don't need to be messing with. I don't know. However, it is saying that but again, it said what makes the faction most desperate is the activation signal cannot be fully suppressed when a human consciousness reaches a certain threshold of awareness. People, this is why I'm saying there is something about you being single purposely, because there's something about a union and love and that frequency. Now you can love you some you, but I know damn well there is a great feeling when you love from someone else and you giving love back too. I think that is a powerful thing. Because otherwise, none of us would be here if we didn't procreate anyway. In fact, let me tell you how they knew. They were so good to know that they made one of the strongest feelings when you reach that point. I'm not going. You should be old enough to know what I'm talking about. That point that makes you want to do it again and again. That point you go, oh, and then you call out name. Oh God. You get what I'm saying? That point, somehow somebody designed it to feel that good so that you'll reproduce and make some more energy, whatever they wanted us to do, right? It's like, make it that good. But have you ever seen two cats? Do you know what happened when two cats do it when you hear the noise and they're like, ah, yeah. Because apparently that male cat and cat, there are spikes in that damn thing. So they really got to want it when they do it. And when they figure it out at the end that they just got popped by these spikes, that female cat is like, oh no. All right. Damon he's talking about XYZ. I know, right? Somebody talking about the dopamine high. Y'all get it. Y'all get what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is, it's by design for us to make more of us. Somebody said, let's make it feel good. And then all of a sudden we're going to be making these things. But what I'm getting back to is the consciousness reaches a certain threshold of awareness. And the good faction, which was the good serpent ones, designed the activation to be robust against the rival faction's interference. However, they knew that the rival faction would try to lock it. So they built in redundancies. Now I'm going to tell you some of the stuff that they did that's in us to get us past what we're doing. Is why I moved into this particular field of symbols and symbolism and all that, because what I'm sharing with you is not something anybody else is putting out here. I'm just letting you know this was strategically done today because it's coming from the reptilian serpent wisdom, the shit that we are told don't even look at, to hate, to fear. And I'm not saying be a serpent worshiper. Oh, no, Lord, I'm not even saying that at all. I'm just saying, if you were made by a fucking magician, but you living like a duck, go find a fucking magician that made you and ask for the damn tricks, because it's in you. Did I say that good? Was that all right? I mean, you know, I didn't ask how old, who was listening, you know what I'm saying? Kids and shit, maybe they, you know, because I'm not saying if you were made by a clown, go back and ask for the clown DNA. You know, that's all. So The Kundalini tradition, mystery schools, encoded symbols, the return prophecy they're talking about. The Gnostic texts say that the archons, the rabble factions agents, are armed not against humanity specifically, but against each other, and their power over humanity depends on surrender, and it cannot survive our knowing. People, now I get it, and I have gotten it, and I've said it before. It is us remembering is the threat. And I've said it in front of our organization one day. We were sitting in one of our rooms, and I was like, hey, that I'm afraid to teach everybody how to look for the history, because some of y'all may find out that we were mortal enemies in the past lives. Fucking Viking, and you were over here Saxon, and find out the bloodline, and you activate your genetics and find out you just boiling at the skin at somebody you've been sleeping with and going, we hated each other 100, 200, 300, 500 years ago. Shit. We were fucking enemies. You killed thousands of my people. And you know what I'm saying? It's like you were a warrior and you chopped down 22 of my family members in a tribal thing. You might find some shit you don't want to know. You give it, but you sense it though, because you sense while you're sleeping with them, like, oh, I just want to just slash their wrist right now, even though I just made love to the person. You'd be like, yeah, I don't think like that, but you get what I'm saying. You know, you have those weird ass feelings. You'd be like, I love them, but you know what I'm saying? I love them to death, but I can't stand that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you just don't know why. You just can't stand them, but you love them. Somebody tell me, bruh. But you get what I'm saying. You just like, you know, you just don't know, but the DNA could be speaking. That's all. The DNA. You'd be like, whatever. And some of you may have slept with somebody and you want to bite them. And don't know why. You think it's sexy when you could be a reptilian or a vampire and you trying to drink some blood and it's turning on. You can't fight the thirst. You get what, you know what I'm saying? Just, we don't know. You know, somebody may be in the bed with somebody next week and they're going, I want to bite you. And you're like, oh, that's sexy. And don't even know. There ain't no sex trick. It's a ritual. They finna eat you up and drink your blood and remember your past lives and get your DNA and all this stuff. And you think it's something else. That's all. That's all I'm saying. You just got to be careful because we don't know. Because they could be not human. You don't even know it. Yes, love is powerful, Judah. It really is. And that's why I started telling people, even on the air, I love you and hope you love back and love this person and love everybody. Because love is very powerful. It is. So we're going to be live tomorrow again at 5 o'clock. Right now, I will take ideas. If there's anything y'all want to really discuss, we'll do it on Fridays. Fridays can be like an open conversation or something. But if there's anything out there, anything in particular, you know, if I need to read up on something tonight or whatever, somebody said I'm dead, Roger. Okay. But you get what I'm saying. If there's something I want to talk about or something, put it in the chat. Then I will then kind of know. And for those of you who's going to watch this later tonight, you know, are you watching it later tonight because we're not live anymore? You got to put it in the comments. Freaky Friday, yeah. I don't mind doing Freaky Friday early, and then we get off. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember we used to do Freaky Friday, Damon, 8 o'clock, and we on like 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, we're talking 6 and 8 hour Freaky Fridays. Literally, y'all go back and look at some of our live streams with 8 hours. We was on it. All right, so y'all don't want to know anything in particular. Y'all know everything, smart people. Yep, 5 for 5, baby. We are 5 for 5. So tomorrow we'll be back at 5 o'clock, and then starting Monday we'll be back at 5 o'clock, and then Tuesday 5 o'clock, and then we'll go live at 8 on Forbidden Knowledge. So I'm gonna just be live those 2 days. Then coming up that Thursday, we're going to have our live webinar for those of you who have already got your spots out of that 20 limited spots that we have. And then you then will get access to some information, and then we'll move some of you all to our all new Patreon life that we're going to be doing on Thursdays as well. And we're going to go through a knowledge thing. Okay. We really are. We're really going to go through a true knowledge situation. And I want y'all to know that so that we can do such a thing, right? We're going to have a great thing. So I want y'all to be ready for that. Understand that. Somebody said I work all Friday, every Friday. Hey, I hear you. Okay. I know. Jennifer said, happy face crying. Hey, it's all good. But anyway, 5 for 5. And so basically, I'm about to sing the song of Good Night, Sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. You know, if I sound okay. And the reason I'm really doing it, too, because the NFL draft tonight, and even though I live in Dallas, I just want to know what Cleveland Browns does, you know. And if they get Shadur, they might be already on. Is the draft started? Can you look up and see? Hell, then I need to hang up right now. Because I'm thinking Central Time, but they might be on a whole nother time slot. What do you think? Yeah. All right. We're our producer here. I'm gonna get another camera. She don't know it though, but probably about a week. There's gonna be a camera right here. Then when I hit the button, y'all gonna see her into the show. Let her talk some shit over there, and lick the damn cupcakes and stuff. Yeah, y'all gonna be shocked, huh? 8 p.m. Eastern, so that's 7 p.m. Central. Okay, we're good then. We got 20 minutes. All right, so I'll stay here about another 5 minutes or so if y'all want me to. Otherwise, we can break some of this stuff down and pretty much. But anyway, if you're in Dallas, intertruth.com. Make sure tomorrow for movie night, we're going to be watching him, and we're going to have a great time. You know, small crowd of us, and then we're going to discuss it afterwards. You know, you can bring your little blanket and stuff if you want to. And you can definitely do that. And damn, they are already left. Oh, tomorrow. So remind me tomorrow to make sure we check the temperature in that room. We'll do it tonight because if they leave tomorrow afternoon and it's hot in there, it's hot in there. So we want to make sure we do that. All right. And so we can do that. So, but either way, it is all good that we can, you know what the funny part about it, people be walking by, and yesterday a lady kept walking by, and then, even though the camera's pointed at me, she was ducking, and then those people just went the other way because they think we're filming and they're bothering us. But they're not. They're just walking, you know. So cause that was really important. What was really important? Cause that was really important. Football, yeah. All right, reptilian connection with the Vatican, or maybe they want to talk. Okay, well, you know what? I'm doing a video tomorrow. You go look, and it's going to be a little 3-minute clip that I'm putting up that I'm talking about the Vatican tomorrow. So it's going to be tied into the reptilians. We're going to be doing that. So once again, let me take a vote. Is 5 o'clock hour good for any of us? Well, now it's good for me though. That's all that's going to matter right now. Please, I'm telling you. I was burnt out, y'all. I'm telling you, I was burnt out. Oh, my God. But I've found some new energy, taking all of the black seed oil and the oregano. That's some nasty stuff, by the way. Oregano oil, oof. But the black seed oil, oregano oil, chaga mushroom with a little lion's mane mushrooms. I mix it all up in this little drink, and then I'll drink it real fast. And it's really done a good job. It's done some good clarity and some stuff. Inflammation, you know, just little tinker pains and stuff. Someone said, do the Lasorda files. Listen to it recently about a reptilian having a conversation with a, you know what? I have those files. I actually have it. And actually I was reading it. In fact, yeah, we could talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Yeah, I actually have that information. I really do. Yeah, so I really do. All right, so with that being said, it's been a plum, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I'm going to get out to chilling, and it's Thursday, so we'll put some stuff together. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll live stream right before we go into our movie night, and then Saturday we'll be here. Since no one mentioned anything for Saturday, we're not going to hook up the camera, and y'all can watch us live in a round circle setting and just having a great conversation. And then you could have been in on it, because had y'all responded, we would have set the camera up for y'all can come in, just watch us live tomorrow or Saturday. I'm sorry, but nobody's listening, so we just don't worry about it. It's all good, and we'll just do what we have to do. All right, so shout out to our godmother of the channel. Diana is there, and then Judah is our crystal custodian. If you need a mala, you know, I wear different malas like this one. This is a custom mala with luminous. I even got custom luminous beads. You can't really see it, but those little silver ones isn't out. Have you ever seen these? With you really? You got to check out the talent we got around us. Hang on, let me put this right. Hold on. There we go. All right, so anyway, let me put my hat back on. All right, yeah, so this one was made by our crystal custodian, but I put a special eye on it, you know, right there. Y'all see that? And then I gave it to one of our watchers. She watches every goddamn thing. So she actually has the honor of wearing the eye, and that's our producer over here. But anyway, yeah, so this one got custom stuff. So if you need a custom mala done, let me give you her telephone number right here on the air. So y'all call her up and get you a mala made, okay? Get your pen. Make sure you call her up. And she stays up late, by the way. You can call her late at night. And she will make you a mala custom. And so, all right. So I'm going to give you her number and call her because she'll answer the phone. She's real cool like that. So her number is... And just give her a call. Call that number. Do you think they got it? They did? You hear it? Huh? The beeps? Oh, yeah. I gave them the number. Put your headphones on. Yeah. You ready? So call the number. And she... Now, I'm saying to you, if your consciousness and DNA strain is working, you will be able to decode that frequency and you call her up and get you a mala. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Make the call. Make the call. That's all I'm saying. And you'll be able to do that. And that's Judah, our crystal custodian. Somebody said, oh, I will do the $5 thing. Hey, please, you know what? Do the $5 thing or whatever. Help us out. Go to, I'm going to put it on the screen. Y'all go to Enter True and make a donation to us today on our movie night or something, man. Help us out. Do something. You know what I'm saying? Be there for us. And we will be all right. All right. So with that being said, good night. Love you. Love each and every one of you. See y'all tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Okay? Tomorrow.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs. A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Oh, man, look at the fly!